Kimberley is a vibrant community, but like so many other places across Canada, it felt like a different place during the pandemic. However, sheltering in place and social distancing didn't stop Kimberley artists from creating. We saw virtual events, online concerts, virtual paint nights, and lots of other creative ways of gathering. We also had local artists get inspired and create projects that brought the community closer together, even while staying 6 feet apart.
It's called During COVID. Who can forget the comfort of cutlery scraping plates, the familiar awkwardness of brushing against a stranger? We listen to the creak at 4 a.m. and sigh, our kids dreaming of popping tiny bubbles floating above the sink. Suddenly we're afraid to give directions to people we don't know. And what about all this toilet paper? During COVID, we waved to the crossing guard like she is our closest friend. We imagine snuggling with strangers we've never met and miss the days where we could whisper cheesy lines in a bar. Are you a broom because you just swept me off my feet? During COVID, a loony is stuck in Happy Hans and is never fixed. Car tires, crows, fridge hums, the sound of belt buckles. These are things we finally listen to. During COVID, we strip away everything from ourselves and vow to find our way back to the beauty of breathing each other in. Did I mention the lady in the bright orange vest standing at the crosswalk? She choreographs the universe with a wave of a hand, and we believe in her. We trust her, like everything's going to be okay. I'm Jeff Pew, and a local Kimberley person, writer, photographer. And so during COVID, every morning at 5:30 for about 10 days, I was waking up and I was trying to capture this image kind of based on a photographer named Jason Lee, who of our civic center. So this is kind of nice building, and the sign was always there, and I never really felt like I captured the photo well. But as I was walking to the other side, I came across this really sweet. It was beautiful lighting in the morning, and if that shows up well. And it was the civic center sign, this beautiful kind of retro sign, kind of like Jetsons, and it said, "Stay healthy, Kimberley. Wash your hands." So when I took the photograph and went home and just did the editing, realized it turned out pretty sweet, and partnered with Kootenai Media, who publishes Go Kimberley, and they printed and framed. I think we sold, I'm not trying to remember how many, but we raised about $5,000 for the food bank with that print.
My name is Locki. I'm a filmmaker here in Kimberley. One of the things that's been really important to me throughout my life has been food, even though it's not reflected in my photography or a lot of my other work. But it's always been something that's really important to me. And so when we were coming up with an idea for a film, we were looking at what was going on with the food system during the pandemic. And I started calling around to some local farmers that I knew and asked them what their experience was.
As our lives get busier and we rely more on convenience foods, the transfer of knowledge from generation to generation around food starts to dwindle as well.
People don't care as much as they should, and I want to make people care. The change that I'm going to try to make in this world is going to be with my little community, and that starts here, this home.
So New Roots is my first short documentary film. We came up with a concept for it last spring, right as soon as the pandemic hit. New Roots tells the story of Michael, Albert, and Maria Fredette, who are on a journey to be able to be self-sustainable in food and food production and teach our kids about the importance of local food along the way. They are contributing to their community by providing the local community with fresh, healthy, abundant local food that is delicious. The pandemic really brought about the imperative for the film for me, like why it needs to be made, but I think it could be made also without the pandemic as context, because it's just as important. I think that the pandemic really highlighted for a lot of people when they started seeing the empty shelves, when they started seeing food supply going down in the grocery stores, that there are challenges with the food system, and that's what really drove me to make it. There were times where I thought we weren't going to get it done, but I'm happy with how it came out. I'm happy with the change of direction the pandemic really forced me to undertake, and yeah, I couldn't be happier for the outcome of it.
My name is Chelsea Boyd Gibson. I'm from Kimberley. I grew up here originally and left for many years and just moved back about 7 years ago. I own a yoga studio in town that has a few different other services, and I'm a professional photographer, focusing a lot on weddings, families, tourism, things like that. So when the pandemic hit last March, my businesses were all shut down. A lot of my work was canceled, and I also had a trip to Spain booked for a month after that shutdown happened to walk the Camino de Santiago. Obviously, I wasn't going to Spain anymore. I think I went into a bit of a panic. I was looking for something to fill that void of no work, no trips planned, and had been reading about other people, other photographers doing the Front Porch Project around North America, and got really inspired by that. So I reached out to the community in Kimberley to see if they were going to be interested, if it was something they felt comfortable with, and the response was really overwhelming. Everyone got very excited. We ended up raising over $11,000, and I think in maybe 2.5 weeks, which is pretty amazing. Lots of people donated and they didn't even get their photo taken, or they weren't even sort of involved. They just wanted to see that money go to the local community. Having something to focus on, something that felt like a creative endeavor, something that was supporting others, it was really important to me, but I feel like it was important to everybody because they had something to just kind of donate to or feel like they were supporting, because everyone was so isolated and missing their community that they didn't know how to maybe help and support each other all the time. Yeah, I feel like that was the most beautiful thing that came out of the pandemic, is just that like amazing connection and like instant support that came. And I hope that happened everywhere, but for sure in Kimberley, it happened pretty intensely in that first stage of the shutdown. Everyone in town was starting to like think of different ideas of ways to get online or to teach things or share things or connect.
3, 2, 1, go.
Yep, is it recording? Losses loom, we man the post, delay the enemies at all cost. The French fell back, we fill the gaps, the chlorine gas, we pay the toll. Yeah, I can hear them, you pack your troubles in your gift bag. Smile, smile, smile. Light a smoke, shake it off now, boys. 'Cause that's the style. And what's the worth of worry? You've never get the wow. But ain't it pretty? The day has come, feels like a dream. At last